Hey, Mark Campbell. Welcome to the Peculiar Ones podcast, where we are living through a global pandemic. I really didn't even know what a pandemic was 2 weeks ago, but here we sit in the midst of it. And I don't know about you, but it's overwhelming. It's exciting. I like change. Change is exciting. It's frightening at times. It's exhilarating at times. It's confusing a lot of the times. It's depressing. It's frustrating. It's a lot of stuff. And if, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it comes in waves. So I thought I'd sit here at Pleasure Point and in the midst of the waves, make a little podcast talking about how waves work. Here's a little guy. He's going to take it on the head, it looks like. Maybe he's going to make it. Yep, he's not even going to go for it in the wrong position. See, the thing about surfing, a lot of you guys that follow me surf, you know surfing is a positional game. Sets come, sets go. Each wave in a set is different. And it's all about how you position yourself within the wave that pretty much dictates whether you're going to get the wave, whether you're going to get called off the wave, whether you're in position to be the guy in priority that takes the wave, if you're in a good place for the drop, etc., etc. We're not here to talk about surfing. We're here to talk about the metaphor of surfing and what's happened over the last 2 weeks and what's probably going to be happening over the next 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, back to the wave of depression. Each hour in each day, it seems I feel a little different about what's happening. Maybe you can relate. Yesterday was one of the first days that was hard for me, in a sense, because the wave of grief passed over me. I really, really love change. I love change. I embrace change. I am an agent of change. I get bored. ADD, let's get this thing going. Once something's great, let's crank it up to the next level or start something different. I'm kind of a builder. But yesterday, I realized that the life I had just spent 4 years building will never quite be the same. And I was prickly and anxious and short, and I went, I'm sad in the middle of being excited about getting through this, but what's waiting for me at the other side is not what I left behind. And I thought, wow, and I sat in that grief, and I sat in what most likely won't be the same once things get back to so-called normal. I think our new normal will be completely different. And the question is, who will we be in that new normal? I just heard a great quote. It says, how does the quote go? Quote goes, it starts with like a little coffee cup. My friend likes to make the analogy that our lives are like coffee cups. And when that coffee cup gets bumped, what's inside spills all over. And the choices we make dictate who we become. Our choices dictates who we become. When crisis comes along, what shakes out is what's inside. When we get squeezed, what shakes out is what's inside. And sometimes who we want to become isn't what's squeezing out. We've got a way to go, if you're with me. Yesterday, I didn't like so much what squeezed out of me because of grief. And so I wanted to just say, whatever wave you're dealing with this hour, this week, this month, lean into it, park on it, pause in it. I said goodbye to some things that I don't think will be the same again. I can't wait for stuff to open back up and for this social, I mean, introvert people are fired up right now about having to remove yourself from people. But I already, man, I'm a people group, room, 200 in a room, awesome, 2,000, muy bien, more better. You know what I'm saying? And so here we are as extroverts, or even people that like social interaction. Maybe you're kind of in the middle of that. It can get hard, and getting stuck in the house with certain people. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're stuck in a house with Mother Teresa, if you're stuck in a house with Gandhi, Martin Luther King, that brother's going to leave some dirty dishes out somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And so a wave of, is this over yet? Is this really happening? Financial fear, what's unanswered questions. I'm a planner. 2-3 days ago, I think this started the wave of grief. 2-3 days ago, my wife opened up our calendars. We're calendar people. We love what's coming. We cleared our calendar. There's nothing on our calendar. And it's depressing. It's depressing. And I had to get sad over that. So I wanted to start the podcast with a little something. Embrace your wave. Embrace the set. If it's calm, it's cool. Sets are coming. And each wave in that set will be different. The question is, what choices will we make so that when we get squeezed, when we take a wave on the head, when we get held under, what squeezes out is something we're proud of, something that we want to emulate, something that we want to be around ourselves. You know, character is I'm a Bible guy, and in the Bible, character is often referenced as a fragrance. What kind of fragrance will we be bringing into the house when we're on lockdown? Rotten eggs or a blessing? And so I just wanted to, I think part of what the choices I'm making to become the man of character and integrity and peace and kindness that I want to be is the choices I'll make when I'm sad. I'm going to lean into that sadness or that grief or that fear, or that I'm going to ride that wave. I'm going to position myself in each moment to embrace it and let that wave pass. No two waves are alike ever in the history of the world. Each one's completely different. And so each hour, each day will be different. But if we don't ride that wave out, it could repeat itself in life, not in the ocean, but in life. And grief is hard, man. And I'm fired up about becoming on the other side. Like last week, we talked about the valley of the shadow of death. We're going to pass through this valley. Who will we become on that other side as we climb into our new normal? Leave 2 weeks ago behind. It will never be the same. Chances are, in many realms, it will be better. Not all realms, but in many realms, it will be better. Some things are going to go away that are going to make us sad. Some things are going to go away that should have went away. Some things are going to go away that should not go away. Some small businesses, some of our favorite restaurants, some people maybe you're going to have to move that we love in our community. And so, recognize what wave is this hour. Lean into it. Push into it. Second thing I wanted to just share is a little, I think I'm trying to process in this today, Tuesday. No, today's Monday, the 23rd. What's this week look like? And I almost started to laugh when I thought about planning something for tomorrow, because who knows? Really, who knows what's coming down at the next press conference? If I get sick, who knows? And I had to laugh a little bit about, over the last 2 weeks, I've been almost focused a lot on what we're going to do. Do we have enough toilet paper? Can we talk about the toilet paper for a second? And if you're one of those cats that built your couch and sectional coffee table out of Costco packs of toilet paper, the heck you thinking about, man? I went into this crisis with 8 rolls. I haven't bought any. I'm 6 rolls deep. 56 years old. I've never, ever not been able to wipe my butt. Ever. I've been in third world countries. I've been in Egypt where they sell you one square for $1. I've been in Egypt without $1. I still was able to wipe my butt. Why do I say that? I love you because you're listening and you're part of my community, even if I don't really know you. I'm just saying, I don't get it. Maybe you can email me. Maybe you can explain it. I heard my buddy in Minnesota just read an article that it's something that people can control. So they're stocking up on toilet paper. Well, I don't get it. And I almost kind of don't want to get it. So I take that back. Don't email me if you get it. I don't care. I'm going to go to Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Safeway, whatever, and I'm going to buy another 8-pack in like 3 weeks. If I get the runs, okay. I'll knock on my neighbor's door. I know that brother's got a couch full of toilet paper. He made himself a little love sofa. Borrow a roll or two. I say that because a lot of us feel out of control. Feel like we can't plan about tomorrow. We can't plan about next month, next week, the job, what we're going to do. That's another wave. That's another set. I want to encourage you to lean into that. There is not much we can control. You know, the brother of Jesus wrote a book called James. Jacob's his real name in the Hebrew. He wrote a book called James, 5 chapters. It's really a neat little book. It's considered the modern book of Proverbs in the New Testament. He's very proverbial, goes from point to point. They called him Old Camel Knees because he prayed so much he had calluses on his knees. He was a hard-hitting sucker. Didn't even really believe his brother was even connected to God all through his life. Paul talks about when Jacob became a believer. What I mean by was awakened to what God was doing through just Jesus of Nazareth, his brother. After the resurrection. After resurrection, James went, uh-oh, I missed that one for 33 years. That's my brother. And he came from God as an extension so that we can know our Creator. Wild. James says, you guys go about your day and your week and your month and your year making plans and talking about this town and that town, going to this town and that town and how much money you're going to make this year and that year and what you're going to invest in this year when you don't know what tomorrow will bring. Wow. As I sat and crossed out my calendar with my wife, the wave of not being in control of even my time. I love controlling my time. I have a watch, I have a phone, I have alarms, I have reminders, I have a calendar, I have a day planner. And I crossed out 4 trips that involved airplanes. This town, that town, what we're going to do here and what we're going to do there. 2 potential little investments, and we're talking about surfboards. We're not talking about global, international, iconic stuff. But no, I'm not buying that board, which I think I can make a couple hundred on, because I don't know what today is. He says your life is but a mist. Fog bank's coming in right now. And you've been here in Santa Cruz. If you've been here, you know that fog can come in like this, and I won't be able to see that rock that's 100 feet from me right now. That's our life. We're a mist. Goes in, goes out. And in a sense, our life, I heard the term, is vapor management. What will we choose to focus on while we're here, while we can see clear, while we have breath to breathe? That, my friends, is the choice I want to make. What will I do for the remainder of my days, not through this pandemic, for the remainders of my days, when I get to the other side of this valley? What choices will I make so that when I get squeezed, rolls of toilet paper ain't coming out? You know what I'm talking about? Some of you guys, I know I'm looking in your faces. You don't know I'm looking in your faces, but I know who you are that are listening. Can't wait to hug you again. Might be a year. 6 feet, it's hard. I don't got 6-foot arms, man. I can't hug you. I'm not breaking the rules. I don't want to get sick. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of them guys. So Jesus tells this story, one of his most favorite stories. And it talks about the biggest question we all have. What's life about? What's eternity about? What will I do? What will I become as the mist dissipates, as my life folds to an end? What will I do? Who will I be? Where will I go? What will happen? He has big questions. I have big questions concerning this pandemic. Big questions. Big, big, big. What will next year be? What will the barbershop be that my son runs? What will this town be? What will the world be? What will politics be? What's going to happen in a year or two when everybody's financially strapped? Not to press you, but countries are strapped. There's countries suffering. We might be suffering. Tax rates up, employment down, the whole thing we've been through. If you've been around and in your mist, in your years of mist, you've been through some stuff, you know what I'm talking about. I was surfing with a couple of guys. They had to have been, one was probably 20, one was probably 28. And they both, this was their first crisis. They were like stunned, and we were talking like we would have never talked at this level in a surf break if it wasn't for the pandemic. It was a moment of humanity when the one said, "Oh, I'd love to," I was on a glider. For those who don't surf, it's 11-foot long board, maybe 11 and a half. I like really long surfboards because I'm not really that good, and I get into every wave I go for, and it's really fun. I'm looking at some killer sets are coming through right now. And everybody was a small day, and everybody was going, "Dude, I need a glider," and I happen to have 3 for sale. So I said, "Hey, I got some gliders." He goes, "Oh, I only have $800, and I might need some food." And I said, "That's the right decision, man." He goes, "Maybe you can give me a break." I said, "That's the wrong answer, bro. I haven't given you a break on jack." Anyway, point being, I'm just kidding. But he did say, "Maybe you can give me a deal." No, I'm not doing that. He said. He said, seriously, what do you think about what's going on? And I was able to tell him about the Oakland fires. I was a landscape contractor, and, the area that I was designing gardens burned up. You know what I'm saying? That was a big deal. The earthquake, 87, went through that. Santa Cruz got rocked by that. We were in East Bay, again, devastated by the earthquake, plus recession that followed, shut down economy. 9/11, I couldn't work. We didn't work for 2-3 weeks. Same thing, not by mandate, but by we couldn't get away from the TV. What is happening? You know what I'm saying? Couldn't get materials, couldn't get all kinds of stuff. The recession of 90, the gas lines. When I remember being in gas lines where if the last number of your license plate was even or odd, you went Monday or Tuesday. Odd or even days. I don't know what they did for Sunday. I think it was, I don't know. Who cares? Don't email me if you know what it does. The point is, we've been through some stuff. These guys haven't been through nothing. And I was able to reassure them it's going to pass and talk about the other side. And it was just like this great moment where I'm the old guy and I'm only 56. And we are surrounded by a generation who hasn't dealt with these kind of things yet. We have an opportunity to walk them through this situation, not be frustrated with them. Because as you know, a lot of them are out partying or do whatever they're doing because they don't know. They just don't know. They're not thinking like you and I are because we've been through. And if you're young, you don't know. I get it. It's no problem. But this, on the other side, has the probability to be a better planet. And so we all have big questions. That was my point. Whoop, little ADD moment. Whoop. They had big questions. And so this lawyer comes up to Jesus and he says, "What must I do to inherit freedom, to walk in the freedom you guys are enjoying, you and your friends, to be awakened to what God is doing, what the Creator is doing, who the Creator is, and how do I, when this mist passes, still commune, if there is afterlife, with this Creator?" Big question. These kids had big questions. I have big questions. And the Lord tells this story that hinges off this Old Testament, old 3,500-year-old reality that Moses lays down. 4,000 years old. No, 3,500 years old. Moses lays down, said, love the Creator with everything you got. Well, what's that look like? What's it look like to love the Creator, an unseen force? An unseen spirit, the spirit that put these waves in motion, that allowed the sun to rise this morning, will allow it to set tomorrow, that allows this virus to consume people's lives. We don't get that. And a lot of us are mad at God or don't even believe in a God because of that. He's the great allower. He allows bad things to happen on the planet, and he allows great things to happen on the planet, and he allows us to tap in to his spirit, her spirit, the spirit source. The word God is both male and female. If that twisted you up a little bit, get the wedgie out of your crack, go down into the basement, get one of those 17,000 rolls of toilet paper and clean up the brown stripe on your underwear and get over that. We're talking about the mysteries of the Creator that spun this whole thing into existence. Millions, billions, there is no time in that realm of the spirit life. What must I do? Moses says, you got to learn to love that, stand in awe of that, reverend that Creator. Give your soul, your affection, align yourself with the Creator. Wow. Well, what's that look like, says the lawyer. It's the second command, to love your neighbor as yourself. I've learned in the last 2 weeks that maybe I got the wave of grief that fell over me because I was a little too focused on what I was going to do. And I started looking at my neighbor and said, that dude's got a lot of toilet paper. I've never needed toilet paper, but how do I get me some toilet paper? I started to covet a little bit. Am I doing this thing right? Do we got enough water? Is our finances okay? Is my job secure? Is the thing, is my, I had a bad case of iitis. Thinking about my world, my job, my. Give me a break. Love your neighbors yourself. Focus your life. If you're in tune with the Creator, I think it takes a lifetime. I don't know how it looks to even love the Creator. That's a whole thing. That's why Jesus says, here's a great example of what that looks like. Love somebody different than you. Because I got a lot of neighbors. I got a lot of great neighbors. For the first time in my life, I got great neighbors. But they're nothing like me. They are nothing like me. Because see, it's easy to like people like ourselves. Sometimes I get tired of myself pretty often. But people that are different than us, and then people that hoard toilet paper when we don't, people that vote different than us, people that look different than us, talk different than us, handle this virus different than us, people that are seeming enemies, people that annoy us, people that frustrate us, people that stand in the line at Trader Joe's breathing down your neck, coughing and sniffing, and when there's a clear dictate to be 6 feet back, brah, step back. You know what I'm saying? Those kinds of guys, loving those kinds of guys. And the lawyer asked another great question. Well, who's my neighbor? What's that neighbor look like? Jesus tells this great story. It's a fantastic story, and most of you have heard it. There's a hotel-motel chain named after it. It's called the Good Samaritan. Jesus drops this story like a bomb. He said, let me tell you a story that's going to reveal who your neighbor is. There's a Jewish dude leaving Jerusalem, going down to Jericho. Now, some of you guys watching this have been on that road with me. It's the Wadi Kilt. It's a dirt road. Man, I'm telling you, in this little staircase I'm sitting in, at points of the Wadi Kilt are maybe 5 to 6 times wider than this. It's a narrow, dirt, twisty, craggy road. Now, it drops 1,800 feet in 20 miles. No, 3,200 feet. It's like climbing Mount Diablo. From Jerusalem to Jericho is a windy, creaky little road with stairs like this sometimes that leads from where the temple was down to where industry was. Jericho was a boom in Silicon Valley at the time, farming and trade and merchants, and it was really a wealthy kind of a district. And so this Jewish brother was leaving or going to Jerusalem, which means he probably had a little coin in his pocket for the sacrifice. And so he fell prey to robbers. Still today, the Wadi Kilt is infamous for robbery because there's so many caves and crags and places to hide and jump people. So this cat gets jumped, stripped naked, beaten, almost to death. He's bleeding, unconscious on the side of the road, says the story. A religious priest came down from Jerusalem, going back down to Jericho, and passes this dude, sees him, and walks on the other side of this narrow path and pretends that brother ain't even there and walks past him so that he won't defile himself. So he won't waste none of his toilet paper on the dude who needs some toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to defile himself. And he went around the guy. Now, the guy that got his butt kicked was a Jewish dude, and the Jewish priest said, I can't touch dead things. He might be dead because that would make me unclean for 30 days, and that would be highly inconvenient because I got stuff to do, and I don't want to be locked down in my house on the stay dictate for 30 days, so I'm passing the other side. Levite on his way up to the temple to go serve at the temple. A Levite is the guy who actually did the work of the temple for people migrating to Jerusalem to get in touch with the Creator at that era and that time and that way. He passes on the other side. Same story. Going this way, not going to touch it. And then Jesus tells us the bomb, the nuclear blast. He says, then a Samaritan came up the road. Now, I know it's hard to believe, but some people don't like the Jewish people. Some of them have infamous enemies. Hard to believe, I know. But the Samaritans at that time were one of the most hated people group in the eyes of Judaism ever. They had done some things with the scrolls that the Jews weren't too proud of. They didn't like take kindly to. They were starting to add some confusion into the way of the Jewish life, and they were just a thorn early on in their history. They really took advantage of the Jewish, really kicked their butts and took their wives and kids, and was ugly and just it's the ugliest stuff history all over. Every nation has been involved in it. This was the Samaritan nation 700 years earlier that really took advantage of the Jews, and they remembered. Samaritan dude walks up, sees the Jewish dude, stops, dresses his wounds, puts him on his own donkey, rides him back down to Jericho. He was headed to Jerusalem. He rides him back down to Jericho and says, hey, this brother was dang near dead. Leave him here while he recovers. If there's anything that I owe after when I come back in another week or two, I'll pay it. Here's some money to keep him now. And then he says, which one of those guys do you think was the neighbor to the lawyer who had big questions, as I do? And the lawyer couldn't even say the word Samaritan. He couldn't even get it out of his mouth. He says, the guy who stopped was the good neighbor. The guy who did something was the good neighbor. And the Lord said, bam, right answer. Excellent. You get nothing as a reward except go and live that way and be free. He says, go and do that. You'll be free. Here's what I'm going to do, and what I want to encourage you at the Peculiar Ones podcast community to do. Look for people that are different than you, that are hurting, that could use a little blessing. Use one of those little moments of humanity, a stop in a conversation. Now, I called 8 to 10 friends of mine, not enemies, over the last 2 days, and I can't tell you what a refreshment it's been for me just to check in with those guys. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you need help? Now, my own hot water heater went out, and my neighbor and me stopped for an afternoon and fixed it. We spent time together. We addressed each other's wounds. It was really, really, really fun. 3 weeks ago, I just called a plumber because I'm not worried about money. I'm going to sell another couple surfboards. I'm going to get paid. No problem. Get the plumber over here. It's leaking all over the garage. It was terrible. It was a mess. But we fixed it, and we had moments of humanity, and we served each other. My daughter right now is baking bread. She ordered a Dutch oven. I don't know why she ordered a Dutch oven. What's a Dutch oven? Well, it makes great bread. She's going to be baking loaves of bread to give to people. What? Homemade bread just makes people feel good. It's warm in their stomach. Looking for people to give bread to. She's painting things to give to people that might cheer them up, that might bless them, that might just help, that might just say, I see you. This is rough for all of us, and maybe this will bless you. To look for people that need to go out shopping. You know how frightened the elderly community is right now? Do you know that the World War II generation that went around the world to die for this country and humanity, might I say, and other countries, not an American thing, a global thing at that time, those people can't get out of the house. They're petrified because it could be the nail in their coffin. We see them all over the place. They got the hats with stars, and I served in Vietnam and America, God bless America. And they used to be all over. You don't see them no more because they're at home. I mean, some of them people don't have kids or families. Look around. Get onto the internet. Get involved in local faith communities. I don't care what community. Get involved in local whatever. I saw all kinds of retailers saying, hey, let us know if you need help. Get on your Instagram, your social media. Hey, do you need help? Knock on your stinking... Get out of your toilet paper couch. Hope that ain't you. Get out of your couch, walk down the street, and just knock on some doors 6 feet from the street, or whistle or something because people are nervous. Do you need help? I know you're older in there. Mean to go to get something for you? We have people that we just have been identified in the East Bay that have been identified as the coronavirus, and we thought, wouldn't it be great if we just go drive over there or get some people, get on the phone, go and leave great meals on their porch. Don't return the dishes because I don't want the coronavirus. Just enjoy. We see you. We're here for you. Call us if you need something, if you need to go get something for you. Can you imagine being quarantined in a house for 14 days or being 72 years old, 80 years old, healthy, weak maybe, but just not wanting to go get the corona and having to navigate culture with gloves and masks and grocery stores and all the... Come on. Let's find some people that are different from us. And I'm talking to my friend who purchased my house from Castro Valley. I know you got some rough neighbors. I know one specifically that might have a mental illness. She's so mean. Knock on that wench's door and say, hey, I'd like to bless you with going to the store for you. What would that do to the community? What would that do to yours and mine week as the waves come? All of a sudden, we're not focused on the waves of grief and depression and anxiety and our finances and our stuff. We're focused on people other than ourselves. And before you know it, boom, the curfew's lifted. We're back to somewhat of a normal or to the new normal. And we're all okay. Our butts are wiped. We're all going to eat. We're all going to find a way. We're all going to lean into each other as a community. That, my friends, is called peculiar. That is a way to live that Jesus of Nazareth 2,000 years ago said will answer every big question you have and put you right with your community and sync your soul up right, give you a purpose and a focus and make you an aroma and a salve. So when you get tipped and squeezed, kindness and grace and mercy and humility and honor ooze out of you. Not selfishness and fear and panic and greed and depression, anxiety. And so that's just a little rambling for the Peculiar Ones podcast. Just kind of a couple of thoughts to what I'm wrestling with and what I'm trying to do that's a little peculiar. Call your people. Call the people you know. Call your parents. Call your friends. Call your cousins. I'm calling people I haven't talked to in 20 years. It's really offered a great opportunity for that. And now I'm all inspired to look around the people that are different than me. Maybe some Samaritans. If you're a Samaritan, I love you. I don't have a problem with you. But metaphorically, some people that kind of rub me a little bit. I had a couple people down here at the bottom of the hill partying about 20, 30 deep about 3 nights ago. And I'm thinking, have you seen the news, you cockroaches? The news? Have you seen the news? And then I thought, man, should I bring those guys a margarita mix? Because they seem to be running dry. And I want to serve them. I want to bless them. I don't want to curse them. Thank goodness they left, because that was a real quandary for me. Waves are coming. Big ones, little ones. Seasons of reprieve, of calm, and more storms. And so I'm choosing to look around and find myself a couple of people on the side of the road that need some help. Take the focus off of me. I got enough toilet paper, got enough food, got enough money. Don't have a lot, but enough. And I'm just going to do that. And I would like for my people to do a little something like that. That's a little peculiar. A little peculiar. Maybe somebody say, why are you doing that? Because your maker told a story through a rabbi 2,000 years ago that makes a little bit of sense. They'll probably have a stroke right there and you won't even have to put up with them no more. I love you guys. Guess what? We're going to make it. This dude got one. Oh, it just ran out. Yep. Just ran out of juice. We're going to make it. We're all going to be okay. It's going to be a better place, but we're going to have to do it together. Oh, look at this. Guys, it's getting crazy. Oh, it's on. Oh, you should have turned and went. What was that guy thinking about? Come on. Hey, subscribe. Leave a comment. I can't do interviews for obvious reasons. Maybe I'll do a couple phone interviews. I just want to say, look for those sacred moments where humanity can come together and not get pushed apart. Look for the moments of grace that you can enter into, because we're all here like a mist. Here one day, gone the next. Who will we be while we're here? It's a choice. Crisis comes. What squeezes out reveals the choices we make. Peace.